Hey folks, hope you're well. I'm slightly distracted looking at my reflection here. I've not really sat here in a week doing the videos, but last week we got the kids' hairs cut, and hairs, like they've got two hairs between them. They all get their hair cut, and we were talking with the hairdresser about like mine and Claire's hair, and I was saying how mine's a bit like thin and frustrating, and Claire was saying her fringe is a bit frustrating, and the woman suggested that we invest in this shampoo. It's not expensive. It's like, I think it's like £5 a bottle, if that. But it was like Tailor Mane, it was called, and this sounds like a massive sales story from her, but I've tried it, and actually seeing my reflection, I'm like, my hair's much shinier. The light above me is shining off the top of my head, and not because I'm bald for once. It's actually just a brown shine of the light from how shiny my hair has become. But she said this stuff was supposed to be for horses' manes and horses' tails to make them shinier, thicker, longer. And she suggested that Claire try it for her fringe hair, but said that it's been used on humans and now it's sold in shops like TK Maxx or whatever. So we went on Amazon and we bought some, and it says on the back, originally designed for horses. And I was like, okay. So next time Claire sees me, I'm going to have a massive horse's mane and I'm going to look brilliant. But I've been using it. And actually, yeah, my hair does feel softer, does feel shinier, looks shinier from the lights. And I didn't intend this to be a shampoo review at the start of my video, but seeing the light above me, I'm just noticing how reflective it is. And normally my hair's quite dull and not very good. So I'm quite happy. I'm hoping it will thicken it out. Like, having an underactive thyroid means that my hair is naturally thinner. Obviously, I am thinning because I'm getting older anyway. I'm not really worried about that. But I tell you what, if this stuff, I talked about getting a Jose Mourinho skinhead, and Claire kind of talked me out. She didn't think it would suit me. She did say I might need to do something, but we were just using this because we've been told to, and I'm a bit happy with the fact my hair is more manageable, and it's a bit flat at the moment. I kind of tried to give it a brush beforehand, but yeah, I'm quite impressed. My hair's felt much more smoother and manageable and better because of this stuff. So yeah, it wasn't meant to be reviewing anyway. It's not a paid thing. I'm not trying to be a shill or anything like that. Genuinely, I've used it 3 times and it seems to be making my hair a bit more shiny and nice, which is cool. So yeah, we've had a bit of an interesting week in terms of Claire went away to Centre Parks for the weekend with her colleagues. She had a great time. They did like a, I can't remember what it's called. You have a rope above the trees and you sort of swing down it through the trees and all of that. They went swimming in the dark at night kind of thing, which was very relaxing, she said. They drank a lot, they had a great time, and it was good fun. She come back a completely different person. She's been very chilled out, very happy, and just she'd had a bit of a blowout and didn't have to kind of do any parenting for 4 days. 5 minutes after she left, 10 minutes after she left on the Friday night, I was standing literally next to Ben, and he went, "Daddy, there's a wee-wee in my potty." And he just picked up his potty and turned it upside down. And like, there was so much wee in there, I'd have been surprised if I'd done that much wee, not a 3-year-old. And it just went all over the floor. And I was just like, she's probably not even left deeping. Like, she would have driven to the Tesco's down the road, probably, so she wouldn't have been that far. Not that I was going to call her back. I was just like, she's literally been gone no time, and you've just emptied a potty full of urine on the floor. So I kind of just sighed. I was like, I cannot believe this. I've got all these like kitchen towels out and was sucking it up with that, like on the floor. And once I felt like I'd got all the liquid up and the floor felt pretty good, I went and just got a big bottle of water and just poured it all over it. I was just like, I don't know why, I just convinced myself that that might neutralize the like acid alkaline. It would just make it neutral. It would dilute it. It would just, there wasn't a smell that I could notice, and I've got quite a sensitive smell at the moment. I might get onto that later. It's been driving me nuts. My sense of smell is so sensitive at the moment. I mean, it's a good way of knowing I've not got COVID, but it's ridiculous how oversensitive my nose is, and it's driving me mad. So yeah, I poured water over it, and then I got some spray we had that was anti-bac, and just sprayed it. And then I went and got shaken vac and threw it on, forgetting it was a bit moist, and the shaken vac just kind of clumped up. So I had to like dry that out, do it again, hoover it. And by that point, I think about half an hour had passed, and I thought, oh, this is going to be the worst weekend of my life. This is going to be terrible. I was already quite tired from just a week of work, and I was thinking, you kids are going to kill me. You're just going to be a nightmare. But I will say they weren't at all. They were absolutely brilliant. I think I kind of just managed them. Like, I'd put Ollie and Emily upstairs, they had their TV night, I got them all their sweets and stuff, they were well excited, I arranged it out. Somebody put a video online of how I can't remember what they call it, it's like an American smorgasbord type thing of sweets. I didn't do that, but I had that in my head, because I only had like 3 different things that I had to sort of arrange, but I just thought I'll arrange it in a way that makes them excited. Then I brought it up, Ollie was just like, that looks so cool, and I was like, obviously you're kind of stuck, you have to eat it in the order I've laid it, you can't just mix it up without destroying it, but do what you like, eat it. I had the lemonade, I got Ollie, Ben to bed, sorry, he was really good. Annoyingly, he woke up at like 2 in the morning just going, where's my, he calls biscuits barbus. And he was like, where's my barbu? I want my barbu. I was eating a barbu. And he was just really upset, but he was asleep. He couldn't hear a word. I was like, you weren't eating a biscuit. You haven't got, and he was like, my barbu's gone. And he must have just been dreaming about eating a biscuit. And so it took me about 20 minutes to get him to sleep. And then I got back into bed thinking, he's fine now, I'll go back to sleep. And then within an hour, he was in here trying to sleep next to me, but just slapping me around the face all night. And I just thought, this is going to be hell. This is going to be just a night of hell. Saturday, we did nothing. We just laid around. I told him my parents were coming up because basically we've had a bit of a weird thing happen in the week, and they're all connected stories. My mum and dad have always said they're moving to Norfolk. When we were younger, we used to argue about it because I really wanted them to live here, but I felt a bit selfish for wanting that because I just wanted to live near them because I thought it'd be nice to live near them. And they're getting older, and I just thought, let's say they live to be 100, if they live somewhere else, and I could work out I'd only see them sort of 3 or 4 times a year, and that'll be it. And it's like, that's not very good. So I'd always tried to push it, but then I'd kind of got to the point where I'd convinced myself that then moving to Norfolk was fine, and it'd be good to go there on holidays and blah, blah, blah. And my dad just messaged me some houses in Deeping and was just like, oh, we looked at Norfolk and we can't afford any of the houses there anymore, so we're going to start looking at Deeping and where your sister lives in Wakefield. And I was like, all right, okay. So then I suddenly become really like, I don't want to be competitive about it. I don't want to stress anyone out about it. I don't want to fight about it. I don't want to argue. They should do what they do. I said to them, just do whatever makes you happy. I'm completely fine with that. It's the most important thing. It's your retirement. But I was like, oh, how I want them to live here. This will be the best thing ever. So I was trying really hard not to get carried away with it. I kept looking at houses and sending them houses, but not being any kind of pushy. They were really kind of like, we don't know what we want. And my mum wasn't sure what she wanted. And they made me feel like they were probably going towards Wakefield because my mum was saying funny things like, there's more trees there and more hills. And I'm like, what? I was like, A, there are trees in Deeping, but B, I live in the flattest part of the country, if not the world. Like, there's nowhere flatter than where I live. Like, I'm sorry about that, but that's just a fact. And don't use it against me. But she just was saying, just things she quite liked about where my sister lived. I think she was doing the same thing to my sister, being like, oh, there's too many hills there. There's, just opposite land. So then we were both chatting about it loads. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, they were like, actually, we had a chat with our friend. We're going to move to Norfolk. And we were like, oh, okay. Like, oh, the excitement's over. I was like, fair enough. I know, it's what you've always dreamed of doing. It's cool. Fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. And then we were chatting to my mum a couple of days later, and I told everyone. I told my in-laws, Claire, the kids, oh, they're all moving to Norfolk now. It's all on, and all fine. And then we asked my mum how the house hunt was going, and she was like, oh, your dad wants to move to Norfolk. And my sister just kind of, I don't know, was just like, do you want to move there? She was like, yeah, whatever. And my sister was like, do you want to? And my sister just went off on a tirade of just questions and asking my dad what, and I don't really know what the conversation was or what happened, but I had nothing to do with it. I'm texting my dad going, are you watching the Tottenham documentary on Amazon? It's fantastic. I'm really enjoying it. It's made me fart. That's not what I tried to say. Made me start falling in love with Spurs again. I'll get onto that in a second as well. I'm texting about this, and then I was like, hang on, there's something going on between mum and my sister Nick. They're just on one. And then my dad's like, oh, your mum says she doesn't want to move to Norfolk. She wants to live near you. And then my sister's like, move to Deeping. And before I know it, they're moving to Deeping. So like on the Thursday, my dad texted me going, we're going to come up on Saturday and look at some houses. And I was just like, what? So I like text Claire, and she's like, they're moving here now. And I was like, texting my in-laws going, it's reversed. They're moving here now. I was like, can I tell the children? And they're like, yes, you can. I was like, if I tell the kids, you can't change your mind because they'll be excited. And then if you change your mind, they'll be gutted. And they're like, no, tell the kids. So Saturday they came up, they looked at 4 houses. Annoyingly, they were stitched up by the fact that all the houses, well, two of the 4, they didn't mention that they were on top of a massive cesspit and they had a massive industrial complex right in the back garden where they did skip hires and, you know, rubbish moving and whatever, and that firm owned houses in between the 2 houses they were looking at. So that firm were probably trying to buy up the row and turn it into their skip hire business. But my mum and dad were just like, we drove like 2 hours to see these houses, you annoying people. And they viewed a couple that they weren't sure on, but they were well excited, and they come by and we had a good chat about them. And I was being an idiot, I wrote them this massive list of every village I could think of, like within a 10-mile radius. And then as I finished writing it, my dad went, we could have probably just put a 10-mile radius around your postcode on Rightmove. And I was like, oh my god, I'm such a moron. Like, that is the simplest thing they could have done, and it would have just showed every house. I said to him, go talk to the local estate agents, they'll book you in places. I mean, house hunting is mad. They said that they're not even putting most of their houses online, they're just selling like that constantly. So my dad rang them, they're looking at like 8 houses over tomorrow and Friday. I'm really hoping that they just see one tomorrow and go, that's the one, we love it, let's move. Bless my dad, he's been really patient, because my mum was saying things like the floorboards are squeaking. It's like, well, you can fix them, or I can hear a road in the distance. And my dad was like, oh, that's because there's a road in the distance. There's always going to be a road. How would we get there? But he wanted to live near a river and live in like a remote bit. So I'm texting him houses like that. And he's like, no, mum's decided she doesn't want to live near a river. She doesn't want to live in a remote bit. So they've whittled it down to they want to be within 5 miles of where I live, which sounds good to me. It's, you know, it's walking distance, isn't it? It's staggering home drunk at Christmas distance and stuff like that. It's when my sister visits, I don't have to think, right, I've got to drive 20 minutes to go and visit her. They can come over here, we can do stuff, whatever. With COVID, it means we can dip in and out. So they're looking at 8 houses within a 5-mile radius, give or take. And I'm very excited. This is like the dream scenario now. It'd be great if they move here. It does mean, they did say to me, if we move there, basically, like, if they said to me, if we move to Wakefield, you'll get your garage. And I was like, does that mean if you move here, I won't get it? So I'm guessing now this means I won't be getting a garage thing. But Claire and I have already started plan B of saving for that, which means eventually we've got the desk now, so if I get a PC, I can do stuff here. It's not the end of the world. But I was like, 1 minute I was doing this, 1 minute I was doing that. But I'm very excited they're moving here. Hopefully. I'm really hoping they don't change their minds again. They really can't change their minds again. The kids are convinced they're moving here now. So yeah, other than that, I spent the week watching the Spurs thing, as I mentioned. That was absolutely brilliant. I've been raving about that to everyone I know at the moment. Even if you're not into football, I just think it was entertaining. Everyone I know who's watched it has loved it. I try to get my dad to watch it, because everyone I know who's a Spurs fan is sick of them. And I said everyone I know who was sick of them that's watched that documentary is no longer sick of them, because they feel like they kind of learned a bit about them. And, you know, even if it was a PR piece, which it probably was, it was quite fun. So we finished that just before Claire left, and then the weekend she wasn't there. So my big plan was to play Spider-Man on the PS4. My parents left about, I think, 6:30, 7. I had to feed the kids. By that point, it was really late. I think I got Ben down by 8:30. I got the kids in there with their sweets and their TV stuff again. And I sat down for my Spider-Man, and I thought, yes, brilliant. I put the disc in, and then my PlayStation said they had to install it. And I thought, hang on, what? And I had a look through, and apparently when I installed Last of Us, I'd deleted Spider-Man. I thought I'd deleted something else. So I had to sit there for like an hour and a half while it friggin' installed. I was so gutted. But then Ben woke up and he wouldn't go down, so I got him to lay next to me watching Hey Dougie while I just read comics, and it was the most relaxing like hour and a half of my life. I was so chilled out. I caught up on like 9 Justice League comics, just chilling out. Ben was really happy next to me, even though he wouldn't go to sleep. But second Spider-Man was done, I whipped him into bed, put that on. I've just been playing it every night since. Claire got back and I've not really seen her at all in the evenings. I'm just sat up here playing my game while she's downstairs watching like Lucifer and stuff on Netflix. Sunday, Spurs were on, so I went to my in-laws to watch it. Turned out it wasn't on, so I ended up having to just follow it on Sky Sports. It's right, we were faffing our heads off trying to get around there. It was Pokemon Community Day, so I dragged the kids out for an hour. We drove around, just stopping. I'd try and catch things. I have a gotcha device that catches them for me, so I could drive while I was just not doing anything. It was automatically catching them. Realised it was 5 to 12, rushed home because Emily wanted to take her laptop to her nan's to play Roblox. Rushed in, having lunch with them. Oh, Tottenham was not on Sky, it's on whatever channel it was on. So we had to just follow the scores. I was getting the goals online when they were coming in. Ended up just chilling out there. Realised I'd caught all the shinies I needed for Pokemon Day. So our big plan was I'd promised Ollie I'd take him to the park and we'd go off around the park and play Pokemon together. But actually, once we'd done it all, I was like, well, we don't need to go now. So we ended up just staying around there for ages. But then Ben had heard me talking about the park and was just insistent we go. And I thought, it's going to be a nightmare taking 3 kids to the park and they're not going to socially distance. It's going to be horrible. But actually we went and they were fantastic. And I kept just saying, who can run that like 300 meters in that direction and back the quickest? And they'd all just run off challenging each other. And I'm like, they're going to be so tired when they get back. And they were knackered. It was brilliant. I took them to McDonald's, gave them food. I thought, I'm not cooking. I can't be bothered, because I tried running across the field with them and I was knackered. So I fed them McDonald's. I don't think I ate till like 9. I had another routine of Ben laying next to me while I read comics, because I just thought I want to repeat that bliss. It was amazing. They fell asleep really quick. And then before I knew it, it was Monday and Claire was back, but not before. I had to do the school run and I was panicking. I didn't realise that I have anxiety attacks now and again, and I didn't have one particularly on Monday, but I was so anxious it was giving me a headache, because I was convinced I was going to forget their water bottles. I was convinced I was going to forget something important. I was convinced Ollie was supposed to be wearing his PE kit and Claire insisted he didn't, and when I got there he definitely was supposed to have, and they were like, it's fine, we'll change him. But when I got back I realised everything had gone fine. I got to school like 45 minutes early, and Ollie ended up having to just watch Pokemon in the car on my phone for half an hour or so. Once I realised how early he was going, shouldn't we go home? Shouldn't we be going home now? And I'm like, no, we're going to school. And I pulled up and I was like, you don't have to be here for ages. So I just put Netflix on and we just sat there chatting for a bit, which again was really nice in the end. When I got back, I was just like, oh, I can't believe it's all done. Claire will be home in like 4 hours and then I can just get back to normal. And none of it was hard. Like, I feel like I'd done potty runs about 1 billion times. I'd put on about 4 washing machine washes because it was just constant. And I just tried to keep on top of everything. But no, there wasn't any more dramas particularly. Ollie accidentally, he was stretching a Scooby-Doo toy and then just let go of it and smacked himself, and he's got like this black ring. It's not all around his eye, it's just under there. It looks kind of like he's just really tired on one side of his face, bless him, but he was so angry at this toy. I hate Scooby-Doo. Oh, why did he hurt me and all of this? But it ended up being okay. I had this drama. Actually, I texted Claire about this and I really shouldn't have told her. Because it wasn't the end of the world, but it did make her panic. I was emptying the dishwasher and I looked in and I thought, I'm going to put it on for a quick clean. And then I thought, do you know what? It's not very shiny looking. This fairy liquid will make it look a bit shiny. So I opened the door and I just went and I put it back on. It wasn't even much, like probably like that much came out of it in terms of like a length wise. So very thin, about that. Sort of went into it. I shut the door. I put it on like the highest heat and shut the door. Went off to chill for a minute, thinking it would be all fine. And then Ben needed a potty changed and a potty emptied. So I went out to the kitchen. As I'm walking, I thought, what is that on the floor? And there was just white foam everywhere. And I was like, oh no. And I called Emily out and she got me all the towels. She basically went upstairs and got the pile of towels that were in the cupboard, just brought them out and just threw them all on top of this. Having a right, I thought, oh no, I flooded our kitchen. Like, this is a nightmare. And I text Claire like a moron straight away going, I think I've just flooded the kitchen. And then actually, when I kind of got all the foam out on the towels, the floor was completely dry underneath. It was literally just foam. Once you got rid of foam, there was nothing. It wasn't water. It wasn't leaking. It was just the pressure had forced it through these cracks in the door. So I ended up just sitting there for like 45 minutes watching the wash, just scooping out foam. I opened it and scooped it all out in a bucket and threw it down the sink, closed it again, and it was just catching all the foam. And I was like, I'm such an idiot. Turns out literally everyone in the world knew you shouldn't do that. Everyone in the world knew that was a bad idea and that's what would happen. I know now what it is, the concentration of the liquid, the heat, the water. But how on earth? I said Fairy Liquid talk about how far their liquids can go and how good it is and all of this, but God, they weren't exaggerating because I didn't put much in at all, and that really, really went far. So yeah, lesson learned. It was a bit grim. I was panicking with the new kitchen. I think Claire straight away leapt on that as a thing. She does want to start. She wants to save for a garage and a kitchen mainly now in the long term, because our kitchen's starting to get really worn. Whatever Persimmon put in, really, the wood they've used is starting to warp in places and stuff like that. And so she was just like, it's probably time we start thinking about saving for that. So, another project. It never ends. I did say to her, I always assumed that once I was married with kids and a car and a house and a job, that I would probably just coast on, like, it'd be boring. It'd be almost like when you click fast travel in a game, that I'd just suddenly be retired in like 20 years and nothing really would have happened. But I feel like it's just one thing after another, constantly striving for something extra or new or fixing stuff messy. But yeah, it keeps us going, doesn't it? So yeah, she did come home having had extensive kitchen conversations with her colleagues on holiday with them. So-and-so got this one from this company and they spent this much and they did that one. And I was like, all right. I literally only texted you saying I'd accidentally flooded it. I didn't say we were going to buy a new one. I didn't say, just, not in an angry way, just it was funny. So yeah, that is on the agenda at some point. Tuesday, I had to go into the office for the first time since February. It was really fun. It was really good seeing everyone. I say everyone. There was 3 of the guys were in there. Really good seeing them and chatting to them in the flesh. I thought I was fine. I thought I was enjoying it, right? And part of this, what I'm about to say, might be the fact that one of the guys brought in some coffee from home, like in a tub, and it was only like 3 out of 5. But I haven't really had that much coffee lately, and I had 2 pints of coffee between like 9 and 12, maybe even 10 and 12, so in 2 hours. And when I went on my lunch break, I was listening to Boris Johnson talk about whatever was going on, put my mask on, went to Tesco's, and I had essentially an anxiety attack. I just went really pale, really sweaty, really shaky, dizzy, like not confused, but basically it started in the car. I was driving my car into the car park, I reversed, I got out and I thought, is that an angle? But it looked straight when I was reversing it. So I got back in, I went forward, I turned my rear thing on, I reversed in a straight line, I got out, and I was still over the line in like a bloody angle. And I thought, how? And I did it 4 times. I tried to straighten my car out 4 times. And the car next to me, the guy in it was looking at me like, what the hell are you doing? And the car behind was trying to go into the space next to me. And they were waiting for me to finish whatever the hell I was doing. But I couldn't get the damn car to just be perfectly in the middle of the space. So I didn't want to be over because I knew this car wanted to come in. So after that, after 4 times of failing that and then finally doing it, I went into Tesco's, and as I was wandering around, I was just like getting worse and worse, and I couldn't see any sandwiches I wanted. And that, like, normally I go for their vegan sandwiches. I don't like getting the cheese ones because I feel like having too much cheese is just gonna make me be fat, because it's just basically fatter. Sorry. So I ended up getting pasta, which is no better, because it's literally all they had. And I went through round. By the time I got to the till, I was such a mess. This woman looked at me like, what is... She was looking at me like, there's something wrong with you. You don't look right. She didn't say that. She just, the look on her face was below. So I paid, went back to the car, and I was sitting in there, and I could just feel my heart going in my chest. And I ate all my food and everything. And then I was sat there, and I just thought, I'm so hungry, I need more. And it might have been hunger as well. So I went back in, I bought some Pringles, I bought a Yazoo milkshake, and I just went back to the car, and I was just sat there looking at the clock thinking, I feel terrible. And I rang Claire and I was like, I think I'm having an anxiety attack. And she was like, what's wrong? Talk to me, just try and distract yourself. And it didn't really work, bless her. I was trying my best. By the time I got back to the office, I was laughing about it. I was like, I was such a mess. I've just spent the past hour just freaking out. And I think it was a mixture of the car and the COVID talk was freaking me out a little bit. Although I've been quite chilled about it. I was explaining to the guys, lockdown has been quite nice for me in terms of I've got a lot done. I've been spending time with the kids. I've invested in bits and pieces around the house that are quite helpful now. And, my parents are going to move up here. I'm quite excited about how things are working out. And, yeah, it just came out of nowhere. It was really... My mate was saying at work that he's been having them a lot lately because of things going back down south towards lockdown and everything. But, yeah, we've been told that because of lockdown, I've been told if no one's going into the office, I don't have to go in. But if there are people going in, they'd like me to be in with them. So no one's going in tomorrow, so I don't have to. It's the way I'm taking that. But sometimes I might. We were kind of, the government have said work from home if you can. As we were like, oh, if we can, we should. But we'll see what happens. I'm a bit nervous about this one. Like Emily's, bless her, been split out from her form. She's basically decided everyone in our postcode that lives in a small circle near the school is going to be in one group, and everyone outside of that postcode is going to be in another group, because apparently it works out as exactly sort of 330 are in and 330 are out. And I thought that's pretty cool. But Emily's in the in group, and luckily so are all of her friends, which is good in two ways. I didn't know they all lived local. I assumed some might live further away, but also her and all of her friends have been moved into a new form group with a new form tutor, while all the other kids have been moved to another form where they've got their current form tutor. So she has form at a different time. She's going to start later, finish later. Weirdly, it's kind of worked out nicely for us. I feel like all these things end up having some twist to them that benefits us. So it works out that we can now drop Emily off and then go straight and drop Oliver and Ben off, and there'll be no gap in between, where instead of like the 45 minutes I mentioned, that'll go now. She's basically starting 40 minutes later, and she finishes the sort of time that Claire will be driving through, or I'll be driving through. So while she's been walking home, we could just get her on the way. I think she's going to regret wanting to walk home after today, because it was like torrential rain. She was absolutely soaked through. Her books were wet. Her blazer was wet. Everything was just soaked. She doesn't have to wear it tomorrow, so it'll be dry by the time she gets back in. But she came in and she was like, I'm so soaked. And she's like taking everything off and squeezing it out and trying to take it upstairs or whatever, stuck it in the wash bin. Claire came in and was like, you know you've got a big coat in your bag. And she's like, oh, I didn't realise. It's like, you absolute plonker. Like, she's been carrying that coat back and forth to school since she started, and she's just forgotten it's in there. It's the first time she needed it. And yeah, I mean, it was raining so heavy that when Ben came in, he was just wet all the way through. I had to change his clothes completely, and Ollie. Claire went and got changed. I was quite happy that I'd just been sat on a conference call, just chilling out, watching the rain through the window, thinking, I wonder if Claire got caught in that. And she did. But yeah, it's interesting. Emily's learning the hard way. School for her has been so bizarre. I don't envy any of you who have your kids there, or if you're there at the moment and it's different. Hopefully it's better for you. Ollie's really enjoying the fact that it's different. It's more, he's got more space, more understanding. There's more, no one's in his grill. I think he's only had kind of one issue so far, and that was he didn't want to write, and he kept pushing stuff off the table and being a bit rude, and then it spiraled into him being a bit mean to people. So they gave him a slip and just said, cut it out. I had a chat with him and he said, I really just didn't want to write. And I've tried to say to him, reshape it. Just say, I can't do as much as I want to do, or I can't do that much, or, you know, I'm struggling to write with a pencil, can I have a pen? I said, don't just say I'm not doing it. Just say, I'll only write 5 words and then I'll see how I feel, or something, just to try and build up. I said, your teacher will be much happier if you do 10 words and then stop than if you do no words and just cause trouble. So he said he will try, and he's not had any problems since, so fingers crossed. But they've said he's done way more than I'd sort of expected. He's done lots of good writing, lots of good maths. They're very happy with him. He's got on really well with everyone, and that feels brilliant, because I feel like he's matured a little bit. I've been trying to spend more time just letting him, if he was getting really frustrated yesterday because he wanted to go in Emily's room and she wouldn't let him, because they're set to Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and he always tries to go in other nights. She wants to chill out with her friends on FaceTime. So I got him in here. I was playing Spider-Man. He was watching me. I was making sure I was only doing the sort of, I was catching a pigeon. I was looking for an item. I was looking for backpacks. I didn't do anything that involved shooting or, you know, anything that he shouldn't see. He just saw Spider-Man swinging around New York. He loved that. He was so excited. He was bouncing around here where I'm sitting. He was bouncing around. Claire had to come up and go, will you stop banging? Because he was so excited seeing Spider-Man trying to... I was this close to catching this pigeon and I kept missing it. And he was just, you know, bounce, bounce, bounce. But yeah, I'm glad I could share that with him. He was enjoying it. It was good fun. So that has been the entire week, and it's just been an odd one, really. Different. Poor old Molly, my dog, has got she scratched her side and it's like cut a little bit, so we've got to get her a vet appointment, but she won't stop scratching it, and I don't really know what to do, because there's things you can put on it. Claire got some aloe vera stuff to put on it, which does seem to soothe her, but I don't want to irritate it more or make it worse. I want to get it checked, and the vet couldn't see her straight away, so I think we're going to take her in tomorrow. We had booked Wednesday, but we got her haircut so we could see properly, but that seems to have made her itch more, because I suppose it's just the air on it. But seeing it more has made us more worried, so we're thinking we'll try and get her in tomorrow. I don't think it's anything deadly. I think it's just dermatitis or something like that. But bless her, she's so old now. It's like, we need to get her teeth cleaned as well, and I'm sort of worried. Everyone says don't put dogs under when they're old, but our vet's insisting that apparently that's not a problem. You know, you can put a 14-year-old dog under and it won't be any more risk than if they were 10 or 5 or whatever. But I'm sure that used to be the case. Maybe they've invented some new thing, but bless her, I'm worried about it, but she needs it. As I say, my nose has been really sensitive and she stinks at the moment. Like her breath smells, the itching creates a smell that I'm trying to get her to sort out. When she had shampoo on her today, my nose was going nuts. But I say, at least I know I haven't got COVID because I can smell stuff all the time. I mean, I'm not going to make that a hard and fast rule. If I'm coughing ever, then I'll still get myself checked or whatever, you know. But yeah, that's my lot really. I think that's my week. I've played a lot of Spider-Man and I've watched a lot of documentaries. But yeah, I hope your weeks have been well. Let me know how you're getting on. It's quite a long video considering I've not done that much, but hopefully you've been entertained by it. If you have been entertained, why not subscribe, like, comment, hit the bell as people say. You know, I need to get into videos more. I've slipped into doing them on Wednesdays without really meaning to. I just didn't have a chance yesterday because I was in work all day. I was very tired. I've been doing my colleague's job while they're on holiday and that's just made work extra hard. It's not been too bad, but it's just been constant, and so I am knackered. But yeah, everything's pretty good. I'm in a good place, feeling happy. Hoping this shampoo will make my hair a bit thicker. And I think if it does get it thicker, there'll be a proper genuine plug for it. You know, I'll be telling everyone buy it, because yeah, I think it's just nice having a shampoo that's actually for me. I always borrow Claire's and feel guilty for it. And I say it's for me. Claire uses it as well, but it's for both of us. Normally I'm using Claire's ones and she's like, who's used all my shampoo? And I'm like, wasn't me. Whereas now it's like, yeah, it's for everyone. I've never normally bought it or got into it kind of thing, but it has made a difference. And yeah, it's cool. But yeah, I will finish there. Sorry this has been a long one. I say sorry. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hope you're all well. Let me know you're getting on in the comments. Give us a chat. See how you're doing. And I'll catch up with you soon. Cheers.